If you're not comfortable sharing your day-to-day life on social media, you don't have to. There's an idea that I subscribed to for the longest time as a creator that in order to build an audience that truly cared about me, I would have to start creating day-in-the-life vlogs. I'd have to share my morning routine, my night routine, and every single thing I do at every single hour. That is not what I wanted to do, and I eventually came to realize that I could build my audience and build a strong community that still cares without having to share every single detail. Think about it this way. When you watch a TV show or a movie, you tend to start caring about the main character, right? Now, when you think of your favorite characters, do you have to know everything about them? Do you have to know their daily routine, what time they wake up? No, all you need is an interesting plot, a mission, a goal, or a journey that character is on, and a compelling way of sharing the obstacles as well as the wins that character experiences. So the interesting job of any content creator is to really position themselves in their story along this line. It's to define their plot and define their rising action, their goal, what they want to achieve, and then sharing the obstacles and the wins and the things that make it interesting along the way. So we don't need to know every single detail. We just need some context as to who you are, what you're trying to do, and how you want to get there. So for you and your brand, here are some things I want you to think about. What is actually making it from your drafts to your feed? You keep telling yourself you want to vlog, but you're not doing it. Maybe you're trying to vlog, but you're just refusing to edit your videos. That's how I am. I have so many videos in my camera roll, but they will never be edited. Maybe you have so many things you want to teach, but you never get to teaching them. Whatever it is, stop stressing so much about what you think you should be doing and continue to hone in on what you actually get out there. For example, these kinds of videos I tend to execute very well on. So instead of getting distracted trying to do so many different things, I'm just honing in on these for now. That brings me to my next point. Play to your strengths. The way you're good at communicating and the way that you choose to express yourself is probably the way that you want to be doing it as you continue to see success, right? So start early with what you're already good at. Only after you've figured out those two things, your strengths and the ways that you are actually executing, can you then figure out how to position your content in a compelling way. I could tell my whole life story through green screen videos, if that's what I'm good at. You could tell your whole life story through vlogs, if that's what you're good at. Do it in whatever way works best for you.
The most unhappy people I've met in my life are extremely ambitious, lazy people. Let me say this one more time. Extremely ambitious, lazy people.
Yeah.
These are people that could do something massive, but they hate the work.
So you're not lazy. It's not motivation you lack, it's clarity. Let me explain. So you have some kind of challenge. Maybe it's a new album, maybe it's a new business, maybe it's a new creative project altogether, but you've got so many ideas you don't know which one to choose, and this creates uncertainty, which means you get stress and anxiety, and procrastination is simply your emotional management system avoiding the stress and anxiety you are creating by not making a decision. Now this, the thing about procrastination is that if you have it in one thing, it will overspill into other things and it becomes part of your identity. And if your identity is somebody that procrastinates, then you will reinforce your identity by procrastinating. And so every time you face a challenge, you just get stuck in this loop. Firstly, if you're stuck in one of these loops, don't beat yourself up. I managed the careers of some of the biggest DJs in the world at the time and artists that sold millions of albums, and every single one of them have been stuck in this loop at one time or another. It's very common. This is how you break out of the loop. You've got your challenge, your creative project, and you take action. You have no idea. You've got so many different ideas, but you take action by experimenting, by testing, and this gives you clarity, because the only way to get clarity is by taking action. And of course, by taking action, getting clarity, this makes you feel good, which gives you more dopamine and more motivation. So that means you take more action. That gives you momentum. And what you're doing here is you're reinventing your identity. Instead of having an identity of procrastination, you've got identity of taking action and experimenting. Now, the reason this is a paradox is we believe our identity determines our actions, but the truth is that it's our actions that create our identity. You'll understand as a multi-potentialite with hypersensitivity that your identity is very fragile and it's constantly evolving. Existential philosophers would say that we were human becomings because we're constantly evolving, as opposed to being human beings, which is more neurotypical, where they have a solid and singular identity. So it's just understanding these loops and being able to break them. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, chuck them in the comments. Peace out.
The reason a man marries a woman is not because he thinks she's so amazing. And it's also not because she makes him feel like he's the king of the world. Even if a woman is the most beautiful one, she has like a model figure, and she has a lot of money, so she doesn't need him for his money, and she's sweet and kind and spoils him, it might be that he will still not marry her. That's why you often hear stories about men who are with gorgeous women, and they've been together for like 5 years, so everybody assumes they're gonna get married one day. And then they break up. Everybody's surprised what happened. And 2 years later, that same man marries a random girl. And while nobody seems to understand what's going on, he knows exactly what he's doing. Because the truth is, he didn't get married with this wonderful girlfriend he had before, because he just wasn't ready. That's why I always say, a man can be crazy about you, and you can be the most beautiful couple ever. But if you want a serious commitment, don't ask yourself if he's in love with you, but ask yourself if he is ready for you.
So what's your take?
My take is that all guys think they want to date the like cool, hot, artsy, baddie girlfriend with like baby bangs and a bad father, but that's actually not the case at all. What all guys in New York want is to date the like candid girlfriend. You can trademark that. Candid girlfriend is a girl who's like 5'5.5", naturally thin, has mousy brown hair no longer than shoulder length. She's like from New Hampshire, maybe studied art history, and I would say the biggest part of her personality is that she like loves pomegranate, and her boyfriend thinks that's like so quirky and adorable.
100% agree.
She's never the like overt center of attention, but her boyfriend is always posting film photos of her, hashtag 35mm, on his Instagram story, and she's always just kind of like... The candid girl is the patient zero of the pick-me girl. She's not even trying to be pick-me, she just authentically has nothing going on in her brain.
Girl?
Pick-me girl is a girl who pretends to be interesting and unique to get attention. This girl just has nothing going on in her brain. She like likes good pottery.
And so all guys want that?
All guys want that because they can make a muse out of her. Also, this girl is always referred to as this one in the caption of the photo. Happy birthday to this one. And it's always like a photo of the back of her head. They're like in Tokyo on vacation in the spring. Do you know what I'm talking about? They like both love Japanese culture, but they're both white. I've really only seen her on like the third slide of like an IG photo dump on her boyfriend's Instagram. I would love to meet one of them. I'm a girl's girl. I want to see you up close. I want to touch your skin. Her name's Emily. They're taking the hot men.
Affairs are here to stay, and they're not going away. And the dilemmas of love and desire, they don't yield just simple answers of black and white and good and bad and victim and perpetrator. Betrayal in a relationship comes in many forms. There are many ways that we betray our partner, with contempt, with neglect, with indifference, with violence. Sexual betrayal is only one way to hurt a partner. In other words, the victim of an affair is not always the victim of the marriage.
What's a coincidence that you think about a lot?
The best coincidence that has ever happened in history happened in 1950 at the Westside Baptist Church, Beatrice, Nebraska. If you've never heard about it, you don't know what you're missing. Every Wednesday, a 15-person choir would meet at 7:15 p.m., have some light conversation, and promptly start practice at 7:20. On this Wednesday in particular, March 1st, 1950, it was a rather chilly day. Reverend Klempel would stop by the church and fire up the furnace before heading home for dinner. At the time he was to head back to practice, his daughter noticed a large food stain on her dress. His wife would have to iron another dress, making them uncharacteristically late for practice. Choir member Herbert Kipf also lost track of time while penning a letter. Choir member Harvey All was trying to get his two boys ready. His wife was out of town, and he was not as good at wrangling his boys as was she, making him late. Ladonna Vadner-Griff was trying to finish her homework and having some difficulty with her geometry. Royina Estes and her sister Sadie were having some car problems and asked the struggling mathematician Ladonna if she would pick them up. Pianist Marilyn Paul had fallen asleep after dinner, and her mother, the choir director, was having trouble rousing her from her slumber, making them a bit late. High schooler Lucille Jones was absorbed in a radio program, thus making her and her neighbor Dorothy Wood run a little bit behind schedule. Mrs. Leonard Schuster and her daughter had to stop by her mother's house before practice, and Mom could be a bit chatty. Member Joyce Black had no excuse for her tardiness. She said she was just feeling plain lazy and didn't want to head out into the cold. Practice was scheduled for 7:20. At 7:27, the church would erupt into a ball of flames fueled by a broken gas pipe. No one inside would survive the blast, but there was no one inside. Each of 15 choir members and 2 small children, uncharacteristically late for various and sundry reasons. Divine intervention or the greatest coincidence in history? You decide.
Everybody that I know that's successful at all has what I call energizing hobbies. So for a second, think about like what a normal week looks like for a very average person. They work their job that they don't like, they come home at night, they probably want to just relax, forget about their job, get their mind off it, so they watch Netflix, They scroll through TikTok for a few hours, whatever, go to sleep. Then the weekend rolls around, probably kind of the same issue. They just want to get away from work. They want escapism, for lack of a better term. So they go out a couple nights, they get drunk, they forget about all the shit they're dealing with, how unhappy they are with their life. But everyone that I know that actually does super well, that's really happy, that's very successful by my standard, instead of spending all their time Netflix, going out to brunch, getting drunk on the weekends, they're doing things like being part of a run club or like working out with all their homies, or they play sports for fun, or they fight like boxing or jujitsu. The creative ones, instead of just sitting around watching videos all day scrolling through TikTok, they either create videos or they write books or they write content on their own blog. They choose all these hobbies where they're just like putting out good energy into the world, whether that's creating content or doing a bunch of physical active stuff with friends. And I don't know if they're like directly correlated, like these hobbies in ways you kind of burn off steam. I don't know if it's directly correlated to your career and success in other areas of your life, but it certainly seems like it from my perspective.
I went on a date with this guy and he was like, so do you have any hobbies?
Every time someone asks me this question, I tell them the same answer, which will now be your answer. Because welcome to the game show, where we can see how long we can lie. 2 words, underwater basket weaving, will be your new answer. Number 1, it will always impress no matter who you're talking to. They will always kind of look at you like, or maybe even exaggerated, oh. Because why? They don't know what that is. And number 2 reason why to use it is it's a joke in the Urban Dictionary for something else. When 2 people love each other very much, you get it? Hopefully. And I just think that's funny. I do. Number 3, I would say you have a success rate of like 50 to 70% of them actually believing you, which makes the conversation even more interesting because now you just have to go with it and you get to see how long you can do that for. Because all you have to do is act extremely confident in the art of underwater basket weaving. Say it with pride. And I trust that you will get far. And they will probably not want to ask you any more questions after this. So, you're welcome. Let me know how it goes.
I'm jealous of people who work remotely while traveling the world.
I'm just gonna say one thing, freelance social media management. I graduated university at 21, I'm 25, and I've just gotten my first in-office corporate role this year. I was able to avoid real life, getting a job, settling down for 4 years longer than majority of my friends and colleagues. I traveled to probably 25 countries, and I've done long stints of remote work in Mexico and Brazil. That is all thanks to freelancing and social media management. The best part is that anyone can do it. You could do it too. It's so much easier to start an online service-based business than people realize. If you have a skill that other businesses can benefit from, you can easily start up your own freelance business and work remotely, work with clients as a contractor. Personally, I was a marketing graduate, so social media was right up my alley. I managed accounts for other businesses. I created content for businesses. I ran their reporting. I did everything that you could possibly think of on their social media accounts. And the best part was, I could work from anywhere. I made a full income from anywhere in the world just by leveraging skills that I already had and turning them into services. And you could do it too.
According to the research, the difference between the unhappy couples and the happy couples boiled down to one simple thing. The happy couples were kinder when they spoke to each other. They treated each other more gently without criticism, contempt, or sarcasm. That's a quote from page 73 of a book I'm reading called The Love Prescription by the Gottmans. I think sometimes I have a habit of overcomplicating relationships, right? I mean, there's narcissism and trauma bonds, and I'm anxious, but they're avoidant. There's gaslighting and invalidation and setting boundaries, healing my inner child and navigating my subconscious fears around trust and vulnerability and intimacy. And all that stuff is still super important. But do you know what else is important? Not getting so deep in the weeds that we forget to remind ourselves what truly makes the difference. Kindness and mutual respect and consideration and affection and serving each other in the ways we feel close and valued most. Having empathy in our communication. We treat these like they're optional. We overlook them because they're obvious, or we act like that must be way too much to ask for, but I can promise you it's not. These are essentials. In the end, they are the foundation and the pillars on which your relationship house stands strong, or the absence of them will be why it crashes to the ground. This isn't about perfection. This is about understanding how love is actually demonstrated. Be careful overcomplicating relationships to the point that you forget you deserve the same kindness and consideration that you so generously give to others.
What would happen if you gave up sugar for 2 weeks? The first thing you would notice is that your face would change. It would go from being rounded and puffy to a more slender.
He turned off his duets and stitches, but I had to reply to that video because I am 2.5 weeks of doing no sugar. Let me show you what my face looks like now versus what it looked like before. This was one of my videos that I made on Valentine's Day. I'm not even kidding. Let me show you another angle. Like, I swear I'm not making a face. Like, this is what my face looked like. Round. Circle. Here's another video I made. You can just see it under my cheeks and like all up in my cheeks. And here's my face now. And I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's so skinny. Ooh, I definitely still have a little bit of jowling going on. But the difference, please, I looked like a bowling ball. You could just pick me up and toss me down the lane. Anyway, that's on period. If you're thinking about doing no sugar, do it. Do it. I also did make a video on like 3 sweet treat snacks that you can eat while doing no sugar. That has helped me get through. That has saved my life. So if you want to try it, go watch that video for some sweet treat ideas and just do the no sugar. Just do it. Just do it.
Remember the ozone layer? Yeah, it's still up there, still being Earth's natural sunscreen and blocking the sun's UV radiation. But wasn't there like a scary ozone hole at some point that was gonna burn us? Yeah, humans basically punched a hole in it by releasing a bunch of chemicals into the air. Like put a literal hole in the atmosphere? Well, okay, not a literal hole, more like thinning. Mostly because of chlorofluorocarbons. Come again? Okay, we'll call them CFCs, but they're basically human-made chemicals that destroy ozone molecules. They used to be in all kinds of things, like air conditioners, refrigerators, aerosol sprays. Is the hole still there? Actually, that's one human cooperation success story. In the 80s, when people realized we were headed towards a global sunburn, they pulled together an international treaty called the Montreal Protocol to phase out CFCs from refrigerators and whatever else they were in. So they fixed the hole? More like they let it start fixing itself. But that repair takes a while and those chemicals like to linger, so there's still a hole over Antarctica. Okay, but it's healing. It's healing, and most importantly, it shows that regulation and legislation can work. Every single country signed on to the Montreal Protocol. It was a total joint effort. I mean, makes sense. Everyone knows that sun exposure causes wrinkles. I mean, UV rays at that level can harm the whole environment and cause diseases. But anyway, yeah.
Here's how I organize my money as a financially responsible 24-year-old. My salary flows into my checking account where I like to keep around 1 month's worth of expenses. After that, I have 5 different savings accounts. These are all high yield savings accounts that I use to save for some different savings goals. First, my emergency fund is fully funded, and then monthly I have auto transfers set to go from my checking account to the other 4 savings accounts to save for things like vacations, holidays, car insurance and maintenance, and what I like to call my fun money sinking fund. I also have a separate savings account to save for a future home down payment, which I contribute to monthly as well. I put all of my spending onto credit cards because you know I love the credit card points. I use my Built Rewards card for rent and dining and my Capital One Venture X card for all other spend, and have auto pay set up on both so that I never forget to pay off my cards in full. Every week I sit down for 10 minutes and track my spending into my budget template to keep an eye on my spending and make sure that I'm not overspending on my credit cards. On the investment side, I have a solo 401k, and then I also invest in a taxable brokerage account every month. I really prioritize investing as much as possible at this point in my financial journey. Managing my money doesn't take me very long every month, but it has helped me hit some pretty big financial goals over the past few years.
I'm telling you right now, if you are in a relationship and your man or woman is liking another person's pictures on Instagram, on TikTok, whatever, or if you are giving attention to somebody else, even if it's a double tap, and they say, oh, it's not that serious, it is. It's the most disrespectful thing you can do. Imagine liking a person, even if they have 1 million likes. you are liking somebody else's picture, you know what you're doing? You're opening the gateway for that person to pop up their phone and see who you are and may slide in your DMs. That's what you're hoping. A lot of you guys think it's normal. Oh, it's okay. I just like, no, this isn't normal. If you are liking somebody's picture, you are disrespecting your partner. You are sitting there liking somebody that is half naked on social media, and you think it's normal, you think it's okay, and they're not happy about it, but you continue to disrespect your partner. You should be single until you realize how much of a disrespect that is. We have all made that mistake, but you also have to learn from them. Liking somebody else's picture is only opening the door for them to hit you up. The disrespect of some of y'all thinking it's normal and it's okay, it's not that serious, shut up.
You got 2 minutes? Give me 2 minutes, and that ends today, okay? When I tell you about my marathon of life analogy, anytime that I start to compare myself to others, I am telling you, this analogy immediately snaps me back into reality, okay? So, life is not a race, but I know you're not ready to believe that. So let's just say it is. Life is a race, okay? We all start at the starting line with our peers when we're born, and we spend our entire lives running toward the finish line. Fun fact, the finish line is death. Okay, we are all running as fast as we can so that we can all just eventually die. Now, think about running a marathon with like a ton of other people. Fucking terrifying, right? But just bear with me. There's 4 kinds of people around you when you're running a race. There's the people ahead of you, the people behind you, the people running alongside you, and then we got the people on the sidelines just kind of watching, cheering you on, right? When you're running a race, where are your eyes? Where are you looking? You're looking at the people ahead of you. That's it, okay? This is what you're doing every damn time that your friend gets married, or a friend buys a new house and they're doing all the things that you just haven't done yet, and you may be trying to catch up to them. Then you have the people who are running right next to you. These are the people who are right about where you're at in life, right? You're going at like the same pace. They're always in your periphery, but you're really not too concerned with what they're doing, and they are not concerned with what you're doing. Why? Because you're both looking ahead at the people in front of you. Just to catch you up, the people who are ahead of you in life, they're not looking at you thinking, oh, that loser back there, I got a house. They don't. I got a man. They don't. No. They are, just like you, looking ahead, either at the people who are outrunning them, or they're looking straight ahead at the finish line, which once again, need I remind you, is death, okay? But then we have the people who are looking at you, right? And the only people looking at you when you're running a race are the people on the sidelines and the people trailing behind you, okay? The people on the sidelines are like your elders. Like, they're running a marathon, but it's very different terrain. They're either cheering you on from the sidelines or they're hating on you from the sidelines. Either way, they're on the sidelines, so we don't give a fuck what they think. But the people behind you, they are watching you, okay? To them, you are where they want to be. They're trying to catch up to who? You, bitch, okay? And are you looking back at the people behind you judging? No. And if you do, well, you're going to trip over yourself, you're gonna fall, and they're gonna pass your ass, okay? You also remember what it was like to be where they are in this race, so judging them would be really, really, really stupid. In the marathon of life, you are looking at the people ahead of you thinking, I should have a house like they do. I should be married like they are. Meanwhile, those people are not looking at you. They're looking at the people ahead of them thinking, I should have 3 kids by now like they do. I should have all my debts paid off like they do. Where's my yacht? The people behind you are looking at you just thinking, I should have a job like they have. I should have amazing friends like they have. So rest assured, nobody is judging you for where you're at in life. Everyone has their eyes on what's ahead, and eventually we will all get our time at the head of the race. And when we do, we'll see that finish line and we'll realize, oh, there's no trophy. There wasn't even a race to begin with. We were all scammed, just running full speed toward death. So maybe stop running for a second and look at who's next to you. Look to your side. Hold their hand. If you have the means, maybe run backward and give the people behind you a sip of your water, okay? And just take in the beauty of the scenery around you, the people cheering you on along the sidelines. Life is not a race. You are allowed to walk.
Advice for women under 25 from a woman over 25.
Don't lower your standards or lose your self-respect just to have somebody in your life. Take care of your health. The earlier you did it, the more result it's going to yield. Put sunscreen on, drink a lot of water, stretches sometimes, and anything else you do for the inside. The only thing you will ever chase is knowledge and an education. Do not chase boys. It was never worth it. Some action you take right now does not make sense and might be uncomfortable to make, but trust me, down the line, it's going to be super worth it. Maybe the money that you invest, maybe the education that you took, maybe the skill that you are building. There's going to be a lot of people to be in and out of your life, especially during your 20s or even 30s. That is totally normal. Be sad about it, grieve it as you need, but it's all going to be okay. You're going to attract more people that suits for your life later in your life. Different friends for different occasions, different needs. If you have the one friend that does everything, all aspects in your life, congratulations, that is the ultimate blessing of all. But if you don't, different friends for different needs. If you did something wrong and it's not the end of the world, it is a lesson. It is good. It's good to validate your emotion, be stressed when you need to be stressed, be sad, be anxious, take all of that emotion in and feel all of those. But stressing doesn't resolve the issues. Overthinking doesn't resolve the issues. Actions and solutions resolve the issues. There's nothing as too late or too early for a female. You do you at the time that it needs to be done, and that's it. You feel happy and you feel good. Some people say YOLO, you only live once, so you should live carefully. In fact, you should make as many mistakes as possible, especially while you're young. Life does give you a lot of chances to do it again, trust me. You can be whoever you want, that's completely fine, but being yourself will be the easiest and the nicest to your body and your soul.
One thing you need to know is that the closer you are to your manifestations coming into your reality, the more frustrating it may feel, because there will be times where you feel like, oh my god, this is so close, like I'm so close to what I want, but it's just not it. You know, there will always be this but it's not 100% there yet, but it's not quite, and that is the ultimate test to see how ready you are to receiving it in your life. Okay, it's a question of, will you settle? This is a question where the universe is asking you, will you settle for less? It's like the universe is saying, okay, whatever do you want, I have it ready for you. It's coming your way, but I want to make sure that you're ready to receive it. And of course, I know your first reaction is going to be like, what type of question is that? Of course I'm ready. I'm born ready. But saying that is not enough, okay? You got to show it. So the universe will send people or put you in situations that puts you to the test and see how you react.
If you act surprised when a man cheats, you're stupid. He'll be like, with who? Then let him keep telling him, okay, don't get mad, because if you get mad, they're gonna be like, if you don't get super mad, they think you're cheating too. And this makes them even more angry. So this is what you do. So if they say, I cheated, be like, oh, with who? Where'd you meet them? Well, guess you gotta go get all the stuff done. You know, I'm not gonna be sleeping with you for a while, and sorry you had to cheat. But I'm late, I gotta go. So what we gonna do? You staying? You going with her? What's the deal? I got stuff to do. Are you gonna leave me? I don't know how to think about that. Always leave it as I have to think about it. That way they'll be on their best behavior, trying to buy you stuff, be nice to you, give you money, if you're in the think about it stage. And if you're not overreacting, they get scared. Then they start calling you all the time. You okay? They think you're gonna go cheat. So you're gonna get twice the attention, gifts, and more. And you can cheat if you want to, because, I mean, what are they gonna do? Just don't let them find out.
If you're in a healthy relationship with a man, can you stitch this video and talk about it?
Let me give the girls some hope and tell y'all my testimony, okay? So my boyfriend and I met when we were in college, but we got into a committed relationship after we both graduated. After he graduated, he moved to Dallas for an amazing job offer, y'all. An amazing job offer that is like his dream job. But me, on the other hand, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I'm still in Virginia at this time, working job after job, changing my career about 10 different times, trying to figure out what the heck is my passion. So y'all, one day I was on the phone with him getting ready for work, but I was also just venting to him about how unhappy I was, y'all. Like, I was just like, babe, I need to change the speed. I need to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. I have so much more to offer to this world than to be working at this 9 to 5. Now I'm at work doing my everyday duties, and my manager tells me to come to the back because my husband is on the phone. I'm thinking in my head, Boogie, I don't have a husband. So I go to the back to answer the phone, and it's my man. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, babe, what's wrong? Like, I'm at work. So he's just like, do you want today to be your last day at work? Child, the man didn't have to repeat himself. He didn't have to say it louder because I was already with it, okay? The answer is yes. So he was like, so go ahead and clock out for me. This man got me a one-way ticket to Dallas, got movers at my daggone apartment shipping my stuff over to Dallas. Baby, the man wasn't playing. He paid the fee for me to break my lease. Like, he just had everything taken care of. I felt secure in making the move because, for one, I had a great savings account and I also have 2 degrees. So if all else fails, baby, I can do better by myself. So I'm all settled in now, and we just decided to have a sit down just to talk about our expectations of each other now that we live together. And he literally just told me, the only thing I expect from you is for you to find what your passion is in life. You don't gotta cook, you don't gotta contribute to anything financially, just figure out what you want out of life. So I told him, like, babe, I think I wanna take content creation serious. I might have told him that on a Monday, and I promise y'all that Friday I had a vlogging camera, a new phone, ring lights, vanity sets. Baby, he was not playing. And the biggest thing of all, I complained about the lighting in our old apartment because we didn't have like a lot of natural light. The man moved us into a high rise. Like, I really cannot make this up. I say all that to say, this man knew how unhappy I was, so he changed my circumstances. And he also knew my potential, so he invested into my passion. And now I get to wake up every day and talk to a phone and make money. That man wanted to alleviate all my issues so I can just focus on me and what I want out of life. And that's a beautiful Black king right there. It's been 4 years now. We've gone to couples therapy. We're constantly working on the quality of our relationship, and we just are obsessed with each other. And I just love my man. Do not lose hope, baby. Your person is out here somewhere, and he gonna come get you. He gonna come get you, Wookie.